Boys, Peter Bell. Belly, we got the news we've been waiting for. Footy's going to be back in June.
Yeah, that's the plan. Obviously, it's an ever-moving situation, and there's still high risk that things could change significantly depending on matters concerning infections and those types of things. But there are various risk mitigations in place for that. The exciting news is there's now a roadmap for football out of this situation, and that's very exciting.
The players are back in the club on Monday. How's that going to look?
Yeah, we're working through that. Obviously, they will be in small groups to start off with non-contact training. So we've been working very hard with our strength and conditioning team and our coaching team as to what exactly that will look like. But that'll be the situation for the first week. And then training will progress after that first week into a different phase, which will allow some contact training, which will be excellent as well.
Time's obviously of the essence. How can we use that week of non-contact training to still get them prepared to play a game in essentially 3 weeks?
Yeah, well, it'll be an opportunity for great respite from a mental health perspective. The guys are probably very sick of training in pairs while socially distancing and kicking the ball in just twos. So this will enable larger drills to take place without contact. And it will also allow some interaction with coaches as well. So I guess that's the exciting part of the first phase of a return to training. Also, it'll enable some physical screening to take place and to just make sure that we're not putting our players at risk and to get an accurate indication of their current levels of fitness and to plan around that.
How have the players gone in this period? Are you quite confident in their workloads and how they've gone?
I'm quite confident, yeah. They've been really compliant with the programs that have been put in place. There will be guys at varying levels just as far as their access to gym equipment and that kind of thing as well. Liam Henry is one who springs to mind, as well as a few others, obviously in the far northwest of Western Australia, didn't have the same access to equipment and running tracks and those types of things and some of the other players. So there will be a bit of variation across the group. We weren't able to monitor the players at all during the lockdown period, so we're not exactly sure of the physical condition of our players, but I'm very confident in their work ethic and compliance.
And it's not just work on the training starting. We're moving to the Gold Coast in 3 weeks potentially.
Yeah, well, not potentially. We're going to the Gold Coast. So that will take place before the first games in round 2, which are scheduled for June the 11th. So that's the Thursday. Without knowing exactly when we're going to be playing our first game, we'll work back from that. And there will be some discussion also, I'd understand, with West Coast, because with a charter flight, I'd assume that we'd all be flying at the same time up to the Gold Coast. So we'll work out what that looks like in collaboration with West Coast. We'll work out the staff and the playing numbers and everything else accordingly.
It's obviously going to be a challenge having to move interstate and play back-to-back weeks. How can we use this as an advantage to get the guys to get the most out of themselves?
I suppose with what we do know, that we'll be up there for a block of the fixtures, is that we won't be moving or travelling to play during that block of the fixture. I think that creates opportunities. We're also lucky enough to be playing in a wonderful facility on the Gold Coast, which allow us some, we hope, and we're planning for some freedom to move around within the resort. There's the potential there that our guys will be able to use the wonderful open spaces that the resort has. And we're working through a whole host of other opportunities that there may be in conjunction with the AFL and the Queensland government laws at the time. But we think there's tremendous scope to be really settled to use high-end facilities and to prepare our guys for that first block of the fixture.
It's obviously a great chance for the group to bond, especially for a young group that could be together for quite some time.
Yeah, we're looking at it through that lens for sure. We're going to be in close proximity to each other. With that comes those bonding experiences as well. It'll be great as a all of club, potentially even have some family members there as well, which will be terrific. We are a team that is used to travelling This is a little bit different, but certainly we're looking at the experience as being a positive one that will really help this group grow together and develop together, and we see it as enormously beneficial.
And it looks like the requirements from the AFL in managing the COVID-19 pandemic will be quite strong. How do you think we're going to manage that?
Yeah, it's we're still working through the protocols that the AFL will put in place, but we understand that they are going to be onerous. There's a lot of screening, a lot of testing every week. There will be restrictions put on the players that are more onerous than the rest of the community, which will take some education, but I'm sure that our guys realise why this is necessary and realise that it is really important to get that social licence to come back and play football, that we're doing all of these things. So there's some really capable people who will be rolling out the compliance around the protocols and such, and we're really confident that we'll be able to perform those without any issues.
And fans would obviously be at the game, so what can they look forward to seeing from the Fremantle group in the next month and beyond?
Yeah, well, clearly we're looking forward to playing. It is a little bit of a nerve-wracking period, the return to playing phase, given that we're hopeful that we don't get any injuries. We just want to continue on what we worked on over the pre-season period, where we had the two Marsh games, which we're able to win, and obviously the narrow loss in round one. It will be interesting to see through this period how that affects the game styles and everything else. Obviously, we're playing reduced time. It could be that it's more attacking. Certainly, that's what happened during the NFL after their lockout period. It became a real attacking game. Potentially, that could happen in the AFL as well. We'll have to wait and see.
And a lot of players could get opportunity who may not otherwise?
Yeah, it's going to be a real test of resilience and the depth of your list as well. Potentially there could be more injuries given the interrupted nature of the season so far. So that provides opportunity for all players on the list.